How do you deal with a painful loss? How do you deal with something that really hurts and stings? Whether or not you just blew a funded account, you got liquidated, a personal account loss, maybe an evaluation that you should have passed and you like messed up, you made a mistake. Maybe you just got your heart broken, maybe it's a relationship, a friendship, something a family member done. But how do you deal with painful loss? That's what this video is about right here. Now, first and foremost, you need to understand that painful losses are obviously painful. No shit, I know it's like super obvious, but they sting and they hurt. And you need to understand nothing is going to make that pain go away quickly. There's no switch, there's no like easy tip and trick. I can't tell you to get down and do 5 push-ups and do a stretch and you'll wake up feeling good. Like, no, it's going to hurt. You need to understand that pain is going to be there, but this is how you can deal with it. Now, allocate a set duration of time to actually sit there and mourn the L. Take the L and actually feel the pain and to feel bad for yourself. I know a lot of people online will tell you don't feel bad and whatever and like be a robot and have no emotions and all of this, but at the end of the day, we're all human, we all feel, we all whatever. And dependent on how substantial the loss was, dependent on what type of L it was, you're going to be grieving, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna not feel great. And you trying to suppress that and you trying to convince yourself that it didn't that it didn't hurt, that it didn't mean anything, is not the right approach, and that is delusion, and that's you lying to yourself. And I think suppression over a long enough time frame is setting yourself up for failure, and you're probably going to explode at some point. Like it's just not a great approach, it's not a healthy way to be dealing with things. So don't suppress your emotions, allow that shit to come out, allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. However, you need to not linger. This is super important. You can't linger for too long. You can't feel bad for yourself. You can't adopt that victim mentality of why is this happening to me, or why this, or why that, or you just can't feel too bad for too long. Because if you hold that vibration, if you hold that feeling of like feeling sad or upset or annoyed or whatever, that's going to become your vibrational being, and you're going to attract more of that negativity into your life. So you can't be doing that. You want to feel it, let it go, let it out, and move on with your life. So sit there, and again, dependent on the loss, set a duration of time for you to feel bad, for you to feel as shitty as you want. You can play your sad music, you do whatever it is that you need to do to feel bad. And then after that timer is up, and after you've felt bad for a little bit, you need to get up and start moving. How do you get up and start moving? What's the next step forward? Well, the first step is acceptance. In order for you to actually move on, you need to accept that you took a loss. Why did you take the loss? It's not really relevant. Whether or not it was your fault or it wasn't your fault, the outcome is still the same, and the outcome is that you took a loss. So accept that you took an L, and accept that you can't go backwards in time, you can only go forwards. You can't go back and change your actions, you can't go back and unblow an account, you can't go back and fix the relationship, you can't go back, you can only go forward. So understand you took an L, accept that you took an L, and accept that it is what it is, and there is nothing that you can currently do in order to go back. Now this brings me on to step number 2, and this is kind of like a little subcategory step. But sit there and think to yourself, why did the loss occur to begin with? This is super important, specifically for trading, but it also applies to like your wider life as well. Why did the loss occur? Was it something that was preventable? Was it something that was in your control? Is it something that you done? Because it's super important to identify whether or not it was your fault. Granted, in step 1, it's not really too relevant because you need to accept it regardless whether it is your fault or not. You just need to accept that you took an L. But once you've accepted that you've taken an L and you can't change it and it is what it is, you need to then understand, why did the loss occur? Was it something that was preventable? Is it something you can learn from? Because obviously you've taken a loss. Generally speaking, when there is a loss, there is a lesson there to be had. And if you don't sit there and take the lesson, you've just taken a loss. You might as well get something out of it. You might as well develop your character. You might as well improve as a result of your loss. So it's not a complete net negative and you've actually benefited from it to a certain extent, and you've essentially flipped an L into a W. So sit there and really have a little talk with yourself, meditate, journal, do whatever it is that you need to do, and analyze, why did I lose? Was it me? Was it an external force? Was it something that was out of my hands? And dependent on what the answer is, you can then make a move based off of that. Now, just as a little reminder, it's not the end of the world. Regardless, I don't care what loss you've taken, it's never the end of the world. The fact that you're sitting here and you're watching this video shows that it's not the end of the world. You're still healthy, you're still chilling, you're good, you're actually good. Whether or not you blew an account or you lost a girlfriend or whatever it is, there is always more. there is always more. You need to adopt this abundant mindset of there is always more. There's no scarcity, there's no lack of, there's always another trade, there's always another girl, there's always another opportunity, there's always another whatever, there's always more. Like, it is what it is. It might feel bad in the moment, it might sting in the moment, but you need to stop thinking emotionally. You need to try and remove that. You need to, again, push out that victim mentality and think in terms of abundance. There is always going to be more. There's always going to be another position. You can always make more money. You can always get another job. You can always, there's always more. You see what I'm saying? Again, a lot of people forget that. It's really easy when you take a loss to fixate on the loss and to like really zoom into the chessboard. You're really on a lower time frame. You zoomed into the 1 minute time frame, and all you can see is 1 minute price action and 1 minute market structure. And because prices had to change your character to the downside, you're like, oh no, it's in a downtrend, and like you're panicking. But if you just zoomed out and you looked at a slightly higher time frame, you went to the hourly, you went to the daily, you'd understand it's still in a massive uptrend. The price is still making higher highs and higher lows, and the overall momentum still to the upside. I know I kind of just jumped to a trading metaphor right there, but I know you guys are traders and you get what I'm saying. But the point is that certain times you need to remember to zoom out, take a step back, and understand that it's not the end of the world, and you are going to recover. In a couple of months, in a couple of years, however long your time frame is, whatever it is that you need to heal, you're going to look back at the situation, you're going to look back at the L that you took. Number one, you're probably not even going to remember it because it's going to be irrelevant to you and your life and what you're doing in a couple of years from now. But even if you do remember it, you're going to look back and be like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. I learned something from it. There was a lesson there. This taught me to not do this. This taught me this behavior. This taught me whatever it is that you learned from that L. And it's actually going to be a net positive. You're not going to look back and be like, oh, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's actually not that deep, I promise. Let me give you a little bit of a story time. When I took my first big trading loss, I remember this day so vividly. I was still in college. It was the first time I ever traded on a live account. I deposited £500 into a personal trading account. It was with IC Markets, I remember it. I think the leverage on the account was like a 1 to 200, which was like, at the time, it was crazy leverage. And I put £500 into a trading account. I went into college and I sat down in the library during lunchtime. I was sitting next to one of my friends at the time. I was like, bro, watch this. And I remember I placed a gold short and price went long. And I decided to move my stop loss for whatever reason. Obviously, I was new to trading and didn't really understand some fundamental concepts like don't move your stop loss. And I moved it up, and then price went up and I moved it up, and it went up and I moved it up. And I continued to do this. And not only that, but I was over leveraged in the position to begin with. And before you know it, because gold is incredibly volatile and it's very high volume, it spiked on me and I got liquidated. And I lost the £500 account on my first day of live trading. It went. Now, £500 might not sound like a lot of money, but to me, being in college, working a part-time job for minimum wage for like 14 hours a day on the weekends, like that was my life savings. I didn't have anything else to my name, and I lost it in a matter of seconds, and I felt like complete and utter shit. And to me, my world collapsed. I was like, yo, I can't recover from this. That's it. I'm done. The markets have finished me. And it felt like the biggest loss in the world. I felt devastated because of how substantial it felt. But now, looking back, I kind of laugh at it because £500 to me currently is it's not a crazy amount of money. It is what it is. And I learned so many valuable lessons from that. I learned not to move my stop loss. I learned emotional trading. I learned how to deal with a substantial loss. Like, I learned so many lessons as a result that it ended up being a net positive in my life. Now, the reason I tell you this is, once again, just to put things into perspective and to remind you that it's not going to be that deep. I promise you, when you look back in a couple of months, it's really not going to be as big of a deal as you think it is. And you know what? Even if it is a devastating loss, even if it is something that you can't like recover from or whatever, number one, I think that's incorrect, because you can always recover, you can always get it back, you can always do more. Like, that's never an actual outcome unless you allow it to be an outcome. Furthermore, complete tangent right here, innit? The only scenario and the only loss you can't recover from is the loss that you choose not to recover from. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's only when you accept it as like, yo, that's the final nail in the coffin, then it actually is that for your circumstance. But generally, if you just continue to choose, let me rephrase it. If you choose to continue to go forward, then you're just gonna go forward. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's entirely up to you how you react. So just make sure that you keep it stepping. And furthermore, I know the majority of my audience is young men out here. Like, speaking to some young men out here, like, that's life. Like, you need to take that shit on the chin, keep your head up, and just keep it stepping in it. Shit's gonna happen, life's gonna throw stuff at you. You're going to take losses. You need to understand, specifically in trading right here, we are in the game of losing. Trading's not actually about winning. Trading's not actually about making money. It's about taking losses and dealing with your losses, dealing with the L's. I don't call myself a professional money maker. I call myself a professional loser. I'm a professional L taker. So I know how to take an L and keep it stepping. And that is the hallmark of a profitable trader. Someone who can take a loss and act like it never happened. You get what I'm saying? That's real trading, in my opinion. So just remember that. Anyways, that's it for the video. I'm gonna leave it right here. I'm gonna cut the video a little bit short. Let me know if you guys like this style of videos. Let me know if you like me just sitting there and kind of talking to the camera and talking about stuff that's not directly trading stuff, but kind of within the whole sort of general space. I'm kind of waffling a little bit. It's been a long day for me. I've kind of been doing a lot of stuff, so apologies for that. Catch you guys in the next video soon.